We've done double cab shootouts in the past. Last time we compared the Ford Ranger 3.2 XLT up against the Isuzu KB300 D-Tech, both of them 4x4. We had a couple of people asking us to please compare the Toyota Hilux up against the Ford Ranger. And well, you asked for it, so we delivered. And here we go, the new 2016 Toyota Hilux and the 2016 Ford Ranger. But we can't compare them head to head, can we, Lawrence?
No, we cannot, because the two vehicles that we have here are not the same. This is the 2.2 XLS, you have the 2.8 GD6. Pricing, I'm at 502,900.
I'm at 547,900. So we've got about 45, 46K
let's call
between
it 50,000 Rand.
Between the two of them. But that brings me to my next question. Seeing as these aren't direct competitors in terms of motor and spec level, does that make the Ford a little pricey, or does it make the Toyota value for money?
I think it makes the Toyota value for money. I was on launch with the Toyota, and if I'm not mistaken, I remember my numbers, you get about 50,000 Rand worth of extra kit, which you're not paying for.
And straight away you see it, because that interior is beautifully kitted out.
It's pretty.
It's a real radical departure for Toyota from the old Hilux, the previous generation, to this one. It is so much more luxurious, it's more spacious, it's more car-like. And I tell you what, it's quiet.
Now, if you guys watched the original double cab shootout that we did, in that video I said I preferred the KB300 over the Ranger because the Ranger was a little bit too pretty to take off-road, and the KB300 was a little bit more rough and tumble. And I'm going to say the same thing.
But why?
Because this car is too pretty. And I feel you wouldn't be taking it off-road and 4x4ing, going up and over hills and rocks and stuff, because the car is just too pretty. Where the Ranger, the 2.2 XLS I have here, is slightly more rough and tumble. The interior just tells you everything, and rubber mats everywhere. And yeah, the rudimentary technology, 2 high, 4 high, 4 low diff lock. Whereas in the Hilux,
this one has got a fantastic drive system. I mean, we're sitting with the same 2 high, 4 high, and a 4 low. We've got diff lock, but it's descent control. There's ascent control. There's pitch and yaw stability. There's trailer sway. There's such a host of fantastic technological innovations that have been plumbed into the new Hilux, and it makes it fantastic on the road, and surprisingly enough, very, very capable off the road. But let's talk about styling, because that's the bit that you're saying. It's about being pretty.
Yes.
And the Ranger does. It's still got that American barn door sort of styling, you know, straight lines up and down, despite being a little more trimmed.
I think this is what people want. All you have to do is take a look at the sales numbers. I mean, Hilux is for forever and a day being the #1 selling, you know, bucky, if you want to call it that, in South Africa. And over the last 2 or 3 years, Ranger has very, very quickly come up and is snapping at their heels. And I think it is because of this brutish American styling that people, they really like it.
More truck-like, less bucky-like.
Yes, and it's strange you should mention that, because I don't know if you've noticed, but Ford very rarely uses the word bucky in their advertising material.
It's such a South African thing.
Yes, they call it's the Ford Truck Month, or the Double Cab Ranger, or the Raptor as they call it now. They don't use the word bucky anymore.
Well, I think the only thing that's really left for us to do is to actually go and take these out on the road and see if there is, you know, a nice big difference in the way that they drive and the way that it makes you feel.
We will not be taking them off-road. We're actually going to do some city driving.
Yeah, because I think the majority of consumers are going to spend at least 80% of the time on the road. And that has always been a bit of a shortcoming of the double cab, is its road manners. And the
thing is, you drove the Ranger, I drove the Hilux. Now we're swapping around a little, and we're going to see, and I kind of think you might be surprised.
Okay.
Because you nailed it. It's very car-like.
It is very car-like, and I think initial perceptions is that the drive is considerably better, especially on the road. It's quieter, it's more composed, and I mean the motor is absolutely silky smooth.
Well, let's see. Well, here we are, out on the city streets with the 2.2 XLS, and it is brilliant. It's not very often that you find a double cab that drives a lot like a car. Now I say a lot because it's not exactly like a car, because unfortunately the ride is still a bit bouncy, but that's the story with every double cab. You put some load in the back, bounciness goes away. I do quite like the way the 2.2 drives. I was a bit taken aback by the electric steering, which is very, very light on center. But when you're driving something this big, you kind of expect that. Now the interior is very, very well appointed. You have this nice soft touch surfaces, hardware in cloth seats, and of course Ford's Sync 1.
The biggest revelation for me is the way that the new Hilux drives. It is completely different from any of the previous models. It is quiet, it is comfortable, and it has such impeccable road manners. You got to think SUV here. It drives like an SUV. The suspension is comfortable, the seats are comfortable. The back end is still a little bit taut, but that's because, hey, it's a bakkie and it needs to be able to take a bit of a load. Then the interior, it is really, really nicely trimmed. It feels a lot less agricultural and it's beautifully quiet inside here.
Now we are out here in the hilly stuff, and I tell you what, this engine is a beaut. That 380 Newton meters of torque it's just there. I don't even really have to change down, just put my foot down and we climb.
The power delivery of this motor is fantastic, and I'm going to go so far as to say that this 2.8 is a much better motor than the 3-litre D4D that it replaces. So, Ranger versus Hilux. The same, but different.
Well, yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed the drive on the XLS. Impeccable road manners. You heard what I had to say about the interior and the drive, so if I had to form an opinion, I would say perfect double cab, all the tech from the Hilux with the looks of the Ranger.
Yeah, I certainly prefer the looks of the Ranger, but I love the way that the Hilux drives. It's extremely capable on the road, off the road, it's quiet, the new motor's an absolute gem. But yeah, not 100% sold on the looks. It's not a bad looker, but this is the Brainiac, while that's the ramp model.
Yeah, what a shocker.
I still think that the Hilux represents slightly better value for money, and I think that the resale value is going to be largely what's going to separate a lot of buyers.
I can't disagree with you on that, absolutely.